Hey guys, welcome to the first tutorial of 2019. We are making this Beauty and the Beast inspired cake featuring Mrs. Potts and Chip. I'm starting out with a 7-inch cake already ganached and secured to a drum slightly towards the back. If you're new here, I have tutorials on how to make ganache and how to ganache a cake here on my channel to get you up to speed. So we are covering the board in a pale pink sugar paste using the toilet seat method. I'll leave that linked above. It's a super easy way to give your cake a clean bottom edge. Next, I have a 5-inch cake pre-covered in the same pale pink. This is freshly covered so the paste is still soft. Now there are many ways to add a quilted effect to a cake. I can probably count on one hand how many times I've had to do it. It's quite an old school design, but I had this mat in a pack when I bought a square impression mat. I used that in the Minecraft video. It's raised on one side to leave a mark. I'm literally just going to hold this up and press it against the cake gently to leave an impression. I'm not looking to fully stamp it and have the diamonds really raised. I just want a guide I can follow. Go around the cake, matching up the join. Then, with the Dresden tool, I'm just going to draw the lines in to make them more uniformed. Where the diamonds meet, you can indent a little crisscross shape so they look tufted. Next, take some white paste with Tylo added and roll it out thinly. I pass mine through a pasta machine to make it all thin and even. Now you'll want a flower cutter. A 5-petal one works well, but you can experiment for different effects. Cut out a flower and clean up the edges before popping it out onto a foam mat, and with a ball tool thin out the very edges of the petals. Now fold the flower up in the centre so all the petals create a little ruffle effect. Dampen the bottom of the cake with water and stick your ruffle to it. Don't be afraid to give it a good firm press on with a Dresden tool. You can cover up any indentations with the tip of a different ruffle. I tend to cut and thin out 10 flowers at a time and ruffle them as I apply them so they don't dry out too fast. Go around the whole bottom of the cake. Then do another layer above this one. Once you're done, dampen the rest of the cake with water. Roll out some yellow paste. I've linked everything I've used in the description box below. Drape it over the top, pushing any air out. Gently secure the top edge with your hand. Then cut off some of the excess weight so it doesn't drag down too much. Next, trim it just a little shorter than the cake with scissors to make it more manageable. Smooth the top. Your aim is to move the pleats down slightly, so open them up and gently work on smoothing the top half. Once the pleats are mostly at the bottom, carefully trim your dress to the desired length. I'm using a scalpel, but feel free to use the scissors. You want your white ruffles to show through at the bottom. Then manipulate the pleats where you want them. You can skip this step if you like. We're just trying to sharpen the top edge, but it can be tricky to avoid digging it into your pleats. Just hold your smoothers high up and concentrate on that top edge. For the sides, it's easier to use your own handmade smoother. Just roll a ball of paste and push your fingers into it. Just rub this over the sides to smooth it and it won't affect your pleats. Right, that's the hardest part done. Next, grab your dowels, in my case bubble tea straws, and cut them all to the same height of the cake. Just insert one down, mark the height and then cut them all to that size. As we are placing a 5-inch cake on top, I'm using 6 straws, 5 for the circumference and 1 in the middle. You want to make sure they are just sitting below the surface of the icing. I use ganache to stick the layers together, but you can use royal icing if you like. Gently lift it into place and leave it to set. Once it's stuck down, measure the circumference of the bottom tier. Mine was 56.5 centimetres. Then divide this number by how many swags you want. For this cake, I'm going to do 4. So that means my swags will each equally be 14 centimetres in size. The easiest way to do this is to mark your first meeting point. I'm going to put one right in the centre. Then measure 14 centimetres from this point and make another mark. Same on the other side and of course the back. You should have 4 marks all the way around that are equally spaced. For the details, I'm using this number mould which I'll leave linked below. You just want to dust it and tip the excess out. Then using a snake of white paste with Tylo added, follow the shape of the mould, pushing it all the way down into all the little details. With a long knife, start from the centre and cut off the excess to either side. Then clean up any edges with your finger. Flex the mould to loosen it and turn it over to pop it out. This mould has a channel cut from it for sticks, but this can easily be remedied with a scalpel. From the same paste with Tylo added, cut out an oval big enough to contain your number. Put them aside to firm up. This is my favourite pearl mould. They can be hard to master if the pearls are too far apart. They always seem to snap or break, but this one has them closer together. Just dust the mould, push in a long sausage of paste and trim off the excess just like we did with the number mould. Then flex it and gently pull them out. Apply water to the base of the top tier and stick on your strip of pearls. Then add your oval into place and your number. Time to get creative. I have various baroque and ornate moulds that I create my own frames from. If I find this exact one, I'll leave it linked below, but any shape similar to this will do. I fill the mould like we did previously, and whilst pliable, you can bend it around the oval to frame it. For the gaps, I just use part of the mould. This here is just the scalloped detail from the main piece. It's just cut out neatly and we'll use it to finish it off. You don't need a pre-sized mould, just get creative. Now we are going to brighten it up with my favourite gold. This is non-edible and non-toxic, but the frame and number we are painting can easily be removed. I just add lemon extract to it to turn it into a paint. If you watched my emerald spider tutorial, you will see why I prefer this over every other edible version. They are all super streaky. Paint the frame and number with a fine paintbrush. Using the same yellow you covered the bottom cake in, roll out sausages that taper off at each end. Just apply more pressure and pull as you roll outwards. Make 3 and layer them up together. Tap them together and pinch the straggly ends off. A quick and easy swag, why make it more difficult? Stick this to the side of the cake with water, pointing the ends up to the marks you made. Chop the ends with a scalpel to reveal your mark. Now repeat all the way around until you have your required number of swags. For some fuss-free roses, add some Tylo to your baby pink paste and roll a small cone shape. Then roll balls of paste, flatten them between your fingers and thin one edge out. Wrap one of them around the cone, overlapping it. Then take two more and place them opposite each other, and when one curls in, overlap the other. Gently open up the petals. Make another 3 petals and overlap them as you go round. Fold these petals back too. To remove the back, simply snip with scissors. Make 2 like this for the board, but for the ones on the join of each swag, cut the back even smaller. If you have the time, you can leave the roses to set and then stick them on with royal icing. But as this one's travelling and we don't have the time to let them set, I'm adding a cocktail stick so they don't budge. You can also rearrange them while they're still soft. Add a rose to each join. Now for the topper. I came across this perfectly sized Mrs. Potts, who is actually a money box. She was only $5.99 from B&M, and there's no way I can hand make one from sugar for this price. Whether you use paste or modelling chocolate, you're making the handle and the spout and waiting for them to dry, you're sculpting her and your hourly wage, it just can't be done for $5.99. So sometimes it pays to be smart and having a quick look at what's available in the shops. The fact that it's a money box made it all the more appealing, as it's a lovely keepsake for the birthday girl and her family. Then, 2 hours away, I also found Chip, which is a real usable cup. He was around $3.99. So Mrs. Potts isn't too heavy, but she needs support. Gently push her down on the top of the cake to leave an impression. Now you can see where to add supports. Although it doesn't seem heavy, it is only sponge, and over time it can sink, just like something sitting on the carpet can leave deeper impressions the longer it's sat there. Snip down your supports and keep checking that they are hidden underneath. Chip is going down on the board. To make him look a bit more alive, we are going to tilt him. Luckily, he has a little hollow on the base that you can stick a ball of pink paste into. Use the paste to manipulate him into a tilted position. I've traced the birthday girl's name onto some greaseproof paper that I cut in a curve shape so it would match the board. It's also copied on the other side. Lay your name where you want it and trace over it with a pencil. It will leave a very faint impression behind that you can then follow with your gold paint. On the other side, add your pink roses and one up near Mrs. Potts. For that extra special princess sparkle, grab yourself this Sugar Flare White Lustre Pump. It's not a spray, but more of a dry dust pump. Apply this all over to leave an edible glittery sparkle. And we're done. I didn't stick Mrs. Potts down as I transported her separately, but she just sits straight back on the supports. Everyone loves a bit of Mrs. Potts and Chip, and it creates a lovely theme for a tea party. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more tutorials every Tuesday. Thanks guys, bye!